So, Nathan, you won the award for best podcast co-host, which you're not even the co-host of the show.
I thought I was. Like, there's this man in a suit. He's all like, "Yeah, you're the co-host. Here's your paycheck."
What the?
Yeah, Ron Bolio.
Ron Bolio's back?
Ron Bolio's back.
Ah, jeez, that Ron Bolio.
Mm-hmm.
And then you won the award for best co-host of a podcast, and then you went to the Caribbean. How was your trip, man?
Dude, it was really nice. It was like really relaxing. There's like all these cool ghosts like wandering around. It was great. It was great. And there was this little girl who was like a mercenary. Like, it was great.
So don't get mad, okay? But last week when we did the show and you were off in the Caribbean,
yeah.
I tried to have another Nathan on the show.
You know the policy, man. It's like the Highlander. You there can only be one.
I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna have to just go on a quest and just kill him. Like, just straight up kill him.
Nathan, you can't just kill people.
Dude, it's unspoken rule. Highlander rules. Like, you know the movie. That was actually based on fact. My life.
All right, then. All right, Renee. I guess we'll just start the show then, I guess. So I guess you can talk more about the Caribbean. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Creepo Depot. Today, Nathan and me are going to talk to you about this horrible Japanese company that we just keep buying games from because we're mindless sheep and we can't go and stop buying their games. We're talking about Nintendo. No.
Yeah, that's like the other drug company right there.
We're talking about Nippon Ichi Software.
Woo!
Yeah, we like their games a whole lot, and we were just like, let's just talk about them because Disgaea 1 Complete just came out like a few weeks ago on Switch.
And yeah, there was the announcement for Disgaea 6 recently.
Yeah, and we were like, hey, let's just talk about these games because we like them. So, Nathan, what was like your first Nippon Ichi Software game, and like how did you kind of like get into them?
That's actually a good question. I don't even remember. It was either Disgaea 1 on the DS or Phantom Brave. But yeah, Disgaea 1, I know, like, I played that one because it was on my R4. I'm like, I heard about this game. I heard it was like...
Who'd you hear from? And what type of sadistic person would tell you to play that game?
I don't know. I kind of just ran into it. And with Phantom Brave, I actually just saw it on an ad for... It was the Wii version. I saw, like, the character design. I'm all like, this is, like, really nice. It's cute. And I really love how, like, everything looks. And it looks interesting. And so, yeah, I, like, sat on it for a little while. And I believe sophomore year of high school, I picked up the PSP version of it.
All right. As for me, I actually just got a text right now, so that's actually really helpful. Because I don't actually remember who got me into Disgaea. It was either my best friend Niran, loving Niran, or my ex-girlfriend, and I don't remember which one did it. But either one of you, I fucking hate you for that. But I just got a text from my friend Chris, and he was just like, I think it was your ex. And I was like, I could see that. Because, like, I think that we're just, because the thing is, I like playing RPGs, but I just, I like grinding a lot. And so, like, when I tell people I like grinding in games, because, like, it's kind of like relaxing, you know, you just sit down, just kind of do the same thing over and over again for hours. Maybe listen to a podcast about some nerds talking about some stupid shit. And so we were just like, and so one of them was just, okay, so I think that it was my ex, and then she was just like, yo, just try this Disgaea game, put it on your R4. And I fell in love instantly when I learned about throwing. If you don't know anything about Disgaea, it is a strategy RPG. So it's kind of like a Final Fantasy Tactics, or like a, what's that one with the women that you have to tune?
Oh, it was
What's that game called?
I don't remember.
Stella Brave.
Yeah.
Stella Brave.
Or Stella Glow or something.
Stella Glow.
You
Stella
mean
Brave.
remake of Oh, great. I'm blanking out on it. Another Atlas game.
But either way, so the thing about Disgaea that like kind of drew me in is I loved the idea of throwing. I love that was the thing that like got me in the door, because in Disgaea what you can do is a character can pick up one character and throw them forward, moving them further than they could normally throw. And you could make long stacks of characters that just like toss. And that really appealed to me because I was like, whoa, this game allows me to go and make my, like, kind of, it gives me like systems to work with, and it gives me like these rules. And it's like, hey, if you want to just like break these rules, you can just break the rules, just as long as you kind of work within the systems of the game. And I really was attracted to that because I really love how kind of open it was, you know, when you're playing like every character in Disgaea can use any weapon outside like the monsters and whatnot. And I really enjoyed that. Like you can go and give like someone who, like they say, oh hey, the martial artist, he's good at punching, so you want to give him fist. But you know, if you want to give him bow, he's like okay at it, I guess.
Or gun.
And just forgo anything that like would be good, but just give him gun.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just have a healer and she has gun, and turn that pharmacy into a harmacy. I mean, and so that really drew me in. It's either that's what happened for me, or I heard Niran and our mutual friend Anthony Vitug go and talk about Disgaea 2 a lot. I remember they really liked that one because they play as Dell. He's a good boy. He's as good as boy. And I learned a bit about that. But yeah, Disgaea 1 was the first one I played. I played it. Yeah, I think it's funny that we both played it on the DS.
I think, yeah, mostly the main reason why for me was the DS was actually my biggest games library of like all my systems.
Well, with an R4.
With an R4, but also like just physical games and stuff. Because I was eyeballing Disgaea at the time.
Mm-hmm. If you don't know what an R4 is, it is a emulation device that you just load it up with a bunch of ROMs that you would get on EMU Paradise, rest in peace, and you just play them. And it was like, and like the DS had such a fucking huge library that it's like it's hard to find some of these games. You can't just waltz in the GameStop back in the day and find a copy of Zookeeper or the first Bomberman game for DS, and those games are like hype as fuck.
Yeah, and I know like for a while now, a lot of DS games are pretty high on the market. Like Okami Den, what is pretty damn expensive now.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
Yeah, and so like when you were playing the first, I guess we'll just start with Disgaea for just a little bit. Nathan, did you have any like unique experiences or anything like that when you were playing the first Disgaea game, and did you beat it?
I got close to it. That's actually the story of like all my Nipponichi games. I got close to it. But yeah, like it was loved like the story and stuff that kind of was like, oh man, this is like really great and stuff. And I was a huge JRPG buff at the time, and like just looking at it and like and everything, it's well, for the time and stuff and all the other JRPGs, they focused on, the grim and gritty and just, I lost my best friend or my girlfriend. Yeah. Well, yeah, Disgaea kind of just turned it like on its head. It didn't take itself seriously at all. And like, I remember just, like when the Prinnies came about, and I'm like, wait, you got like units that act as hand grenades. And I'm all like, this is kind of cool. I don't know when I'm going to use it because I was too used to like stuff like a Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy Tactics where you need those units, and if something goes down, it could just ruin the whole thing.
Well, Disgaea 1, they so back to with the throwing mechanic. One character you don't want to throw are the Prinnies, because based on their HP, they will just explode out and just deal massive amounts of damage.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was a very viable tactic, like throughout the games at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really do that too often. I mean, I'll do it maybe like early game because like it does work. It's throwing
dynamite, whatever works.
It works getting a lot of good chip damage in, so that way you can go and send in units. But the thing about it is, of course, that's killing a unit, and that doesn't get you the best ending. And also, that's one less unit that you have to work with.
Right.
You only have in Disgaea, you only have a maximum of 10 units on the field, so every unit counts. But wait, hold on. I'm also but you didn't have any like thing that you just like were just kind of like gravitated towards or anything that you remember.
I remember like it was mostly just a story and like, oh my gosh, yeah, fighting in space on top of like a spaceship. And like I remember like those levels and stuff, and I remember just like the grinding. And well, this is also another mechanic for every single Nippon Ichi game. You can actually get your units to level 9,999.
Yeah.
And
when you say I like grinding, and then okay. Also, I just got confirmation from Niran. He's pretty sure it was my ex who gave me who gave me this bug. And let me scratch it on my neck. But yeah, I just remember there's a lot of things about Disgaea 1 that I remember just like learning about and just like finding out, and just I was just like everything was just kind of like new and interesting. What's a good moment I was thinking about? I remember I died on the first boss of the game, which actually, if it's your first time playing Disgaea on DS, that's actually probably the best thing to do.
Yep.
Because then you get plain air, and she's the bestest girl ever. And so I remember I had she just like helped carry me throughout the entire game, because her dodge rate is so high that she just dodges everything, and it's freaking great.
Actually, yeah, and also, yeah, just going back to the older games and stuff, but yeah, even like having there's a lot, there was some balance issues on it, and some programming issues.
Oh, we'll get into that later. Yeah. We'll get into that.
But yeah, sometimes just being able to dodge everything isn't the best. But yeah, like Anthony says, we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Well, since we both have played a bit of the remake of 1 so far, me with a little bit more. So tell me about like how your experience with Phantom Brave then. While I go and mask the fact that I have a sore throat right now and have to go and sip honey tea and eat 5 throat lozenges.
Now, Phantom Brave, that was actually a lot of like, yeah, like Anthony had his moments with Disgaea 1, and it's like, oh man, like all that nostalgia and stuff. I actually had a lot more moments with Phantom Brave. Like, going back to the story, I actually do cry every time I think about it, mostly just because like how good it is and just how well the characters are. And
why don't you give the audience just a little taste of what the story is just about, just brief clip notes.
Okay, so the story about Phantom Brave is it follows this young girl named Marona, and her parents are killed off by this weird dark entity. And in their last moments, they actually turn one of their best friends into a ghost so they can look after their daughter. And so word comes out that, hey, she can see ghosts and she can interact with ghosts. And in Phantom Brave's world, that's a huge taboo. And a lot of the people in this archipelago view that as bad luck. And so her main job is a mercenary, so they'll hire her knowing that she's so quote unquote possessed, and they'll pay her less just because of that, and just treat her like bad, even though I believe she's 12 in this game.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just feel for this kid who just wants to make friends and stuff, and her kind of ghost older brother, and it's just the story about kind of just growing up, finding out who you are, and just making friends, and just people finding out who you are and appreciating for what you do, and just gaining general acceptance. And there's a lot of moments where I just completely broke down and cried, because just the storytelling for that one, it was so good. To the point where their next game, you can unlock a character that was a side character in Phantom Brave, but she's a secret unlockable character. and the main character in the spin-off or the other game just asked, "Oh no, hey, if we're making another game, it better not be like Phantom Brave and just this giant crying fest." and and like what attracted me to it was the mechanics, because most strategy RPG games are on a grid-based tile system, but with Phantom Brave, it's a lot like a Warhammer 40k, where you just get out a ruler and then you measure out your units and where they go.
Yeah, that's actually, I've only played a little bit of Phantom Brave, and I actually say that's something really nice to it, where it where everything's kind of like a radius, and you're not really like stuck to that rigid grid system. Well, I love Disgaea. Sometimes, you know, grids they get on your nerves.
Yeah, it limits a lot of it.
But not only that, but like there's a lot of environmental play in this and Phantom Brave that
that was just the main core components of it. It's very much environment. So in Disgaea, you have a base where you just summon units. So with Phantom Brave, the main character Morona, she's basically this movable base, and she moves around. And if you see an object, you can bind a phantom to it, and what that does is it gives the phantom a stat boost depending on what the object is.
Yeah, like let's say it's a rock, then they would get like plus, like they would get like
a 50% buff on its like defense and like all this other stuff, but it'd lower their like intelligence or their resistance.
Yeah, because they're dumb as a rock.
Right. And so the main mechanic is just being creative with the environment, and the reason
not only that, but you can also like ring out people as well.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like stuff to it, like the throwing mechanics there. Like if you feel overwhelmed by enemies, like Anthony said, you can just pick them up and throw them out and just ring them out, and you have one less enemy to deal with, but everybody else, like all the enemies, get a slight stat boost. And the other part of it is it's kind of like an interesting mechanic to it, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a pain. Every phantom that you summon, it has like basically a shelf life. So if you summon one person, they can only be on the field for like probably like 3 turns. Some people can be on 5 turns. And so that's where the environment, like manipulation and just understanding, kind of goes into play. So like I had those moments of like, oh man, like I'm just getting my ass kicked. Wait a minute, there's like a super item in the back right behind the boss. I'm just gonna summon my main dude like right behind him and just go all out on it. And it's just a fun kind of thinking one. It's a bit sadistic, but in the long run, it is a very, very fun like game to play.
Yeah, that's a lot of their games. So they're a lot of sadistic. I guess I should go a little bit more into detail on Disgaea 1. Disgaea 1, the main story is that you're playing as a son of the late overlord Laharl, who just woke up from a 2-year nap and just is like.
I thought it was like it was longer, like somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it's a 2-year nap. Either way, he wakes up from a real long nap and he's just like, after 2,000 years, I'm back, and it's time to conquer Earth. It actually is Rita Repulsa voicing the character, which is great. But yeah, he wakes up and he's like, yo, where my old man at? Why is my castle a mess? And they're like, well, your dad's dead, and everyone outside of the castle really wants to become the overlord, which is basically just the king of the netherworld. And
Supreme Emperor.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck that. I'm the prince. That's my job. I'm gonna beat up all these stupid jabronis. And you just kind of follow him and his like these characters over like the course of like little kind of episodes, and you kind of like grow to learn about their personalities and whatnot and why they do certain things. And their weird like quirks, like how Laharl can't stand women with sexy bodies, which is helpful because the 2 women closest to him in his life are flat as a board, and like have flat asses too. Which honestly, guys, I'm gonna be real with you. If you're drawing Etna and you give her a flat chest, that's fine, but you have to also give her a flat booty. 'Cause
she's just flat, just like that mouse pad.
Yeah, that was fucking great. But there was just while playing that game, there's just like little just things I was just loving about it. Just I guess this is just be a little bit of a spoiler, but so you get these items called hands, and what the hands do is it lets you steal an item from your opponent. If your opponent has, like, let's say a legendary sword, you can walk up and steal it. Most characters cannot steal shit. You literally have to have a thief on your team, and a thief is the only one that's really good at stealing things. But the thing is, later on in the game, you get the ultimate hand. You only get one of these, and and every character has a 50-50 chance for every item. Now, I know this sounds dumb, and I should have just grinded more, but I was having a lot of trouble on the last boss, and it was kicking my ass. And so I was just really tired, and I was like, I don't want to grind anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to play this anymore. And so I was like, yo, but like, what if? And so I took that 50-50 chance, and I was like, if this works, I'm just going to have to roll with it. And so I ran up to the final boss, and I stole his item. And I was just like, the world is my oyster now, because his attack is so low, it can't do shit to me. Like, before, the dude was like popping off, like, special, raining hell upon all my units, and I was just like, dude can't even kill me. I like literally, I remember, it's in my head, I just remember Laharl took his item, threw it to Hagenmeiser. Hagenmeiser just puts it on, equips it, and it's just Hagenmeiser, plein air, Laharl, and just my healer just fucking chipping away at his health turn after turn, and he can't do diddly squat. He can't kill us because we'll out heal him, and then anytime he tries to go in, he just can't do it. And so it just was a slow death, and I was just like, man, I love this game.
And yeah, that's the charm of it. The whole game is just, you play dirty. That's the whole game.
Yeah.
You just find ways to break it. Like, grind to the point where you're like,
overpowered?
Yeah, like 20 or 50 levels above everybody else.
Go into the item world where you can go and level up your weapons to absurd levels.
Like, just steal shit.
Steal shit. Be an asshole.
Gang up on people. Like, this game just rewards you for being the biggest asshole you can.
And the game encourages it too.
Like, yeah, just the theme and stuff. It's, you're in the netherworld. You're a demon. You're supposed to just do dirty tricks all the time.
I know I have a few more stories about like me playing Disgaea 1 for the first time. There's a lot of stuff, but I'll try to get to them later. So outside of that, what other things you played? What other games have you played from them, Nathan?
Disgaea 4. But actually, yeah, that's the thing with Nippon Ichi. They have a very, very wide like library. So you might like have played one of their games without really knowing it. I think I might have played Soul Nomad, but that was probably a long time ago, and I barely remember it.
Oh, okay. I for a long time, the problem with Nippon Ichi games though was, for me anyway, that a lot of them were on like the PSP, they were on the PS3, and like I was like, I want to play these games, but I'm mostly a Nintendo nerd. So I remember I would actually go to my ex's place back when we were together, and I'd play like Disgaea. I played Disgaea 2 on her little brother's PSP, and then like I would play Disgaea 3 on his PS3, and then just with Disgaea 4 a little later on. And like I had a great time with those. I remember when I was playing Disgaea 2 on his PSP, and then like I gave it back to him after like a month or two of me just playing it. I never beat it, but I still haven't beaten it. That's just because Disgaea 2 got really sadistic later on with its puzzles. Basically, in the Disgaea games, they have these kind of these colored panels, and they usually have an effect. And eventually in Disgaea 2, they just get just mean with them to the point where it's like, we want you to play the game a very specific way, and if you don't play the game a very specific way, then you're not going to be able to beat this level. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that though. But I'll always remember a little Bill. He just like looked at my units and he's like, why does everybody on your fucking team have a goddamn sword? The healer has a sword. This chick has a sword. This person has a sword. Why the fuck do they all have swords? And I was just like, it's easy coverage, man. That's something like they fixed eventually, but like, man.
Like, yeah, each game favored a certain weapon.
Well, kind of sort of.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, man. Like, swords, like, Disgaea 1, like, if you don't have a sword user, at least one on your team, you're just doing it wrong. Because, like, you need... The thing about swords is their first special is Blade Rush, which hits 3 units in front of you, and you need a spot in front of you as well. So it's like, you have to have 4 open spots. Which is kind of nice, because, like, they'll, like, count gaps as that. So, if, like, there's, like, 2 gaps, and then, like, solid land. As long as there's an enemy there, you can go and just zoop, zoop. And it's real helpful because it helps the sword go and counter the fact that it doesn't have that much range, and also the fact that like you can't hit that many units. I'm playing Disgaea 1 complete right now, and I just got Lion's Roar for Etna. Yeah, so Lion's Roar just basically just hits all units around you. And you need like a spot like a little off to the side, but it just does massive damage. I remember in Disgaea 2, basically, Lion's Roar, you get it so early in the game that what I would do is I would just use what I would used to call the Adele grenade. So I would just have units just throw the main character Adele, who's really good at fist weapons, and just throw him all the way to the end of the map where all the enemies are, and I just have Adele just like continuously spam Lion's Roar over and over again, just damaging them as like the rest of my units like slowly creep up and just start like picking the rest of them off one by one. Also, Adele has like really good counter rate, so like when he is in enemy territory, he's just countering blows left and right and left and right.
And yeah, actually, for those people who don't really know about the countering system in Disgaea, so I'd say actually Disgaea is a very, very fast-paced like strategy RPG.
It can be fast.
It can be fast. It did a lot of stuff where it was just like you're going to be like killing enemies as fast as you can. So they have a counter system, and usually it's like, oh, an enemy attacks you, then you counter for most strategy RPGs. Well, what Disgaea did was, okay, enemy attacks you, then you counter back. Then, if the enemy has a high enough stat, it will counter your counter. Then so on and so forth.
I think in Disgaea 5, I actually got like a counter. I got like counter times 5 or something, like ridiculous like that. I think it was because of your unit, because like I increased your counter rate. So literally, if anything hit my Kung Fu Nathan, he was just like counter.
Yeah, just the bare fist ones. If you just get 2 units that are like they use fist weapons, it's just a counter fest. I might have actually gotten like a 7 counter. Well, in a Disgaea 4 with Fenric.
Oh yeah, I love Fenric.
Dude.
I've played, but since owning a Vita now, I've actually been able to play a little bit of. I've been able to go back to those games since originally I thought I was never gonna like fully play those games. So after my ex broke up with me, I mostly was just like, I'm just gonna go and look up the story for these games and see how they go, because I'm never gonna play them. Eventually I did get a Vita, so I have been able to finish. I went back and finished 3. I love 3 mechanically. Story's kind of bad. I wish Disgaea 3 had a better story. I still haven't beaten Disgaea 2, but I actually don't Disgaea 2. I never actually sat down and watched the entirety of like the story mode, just because I think the cutscenes were just a little too archaic back then, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of reading that you have to do on those. But I remember though when I was gonna play Disgaea 2 on my ex's little brother's PSP. I remember the first thing everybody literally told me about the game is, oh my god, they fucking fixed healers so that way you don't have to get kills with them. Because in Disgaea 1, in order for your healer to actually like get levels, they needed to kill things, which is a pain in the ass. Because your healer, you should just
sit in the back, give people drinks.
Yeah. And so in Disgaea 1, it was like, no, they have to be out there. They have to be killing things. So you pretty much just use them as okay, you just poke it so it just dies. Or what most people do is you just go and make it so they make a bunch of dummy units that teach it all the elemental moves, and then you just make it into a dedicated spellcaster. Which, that's pretty much what I did, which is really funny because late game, they're hitting you with Omega Fire and like super duper ice and gamma wind, and then I'm just like standard fire, just murdered. Because like I would just level that up so much. I leveled up standard fire to the point where it was like dealing insane amounts of damage.
Yeah, that is very much another system that Disgaea did. So yeah, the skill systems where you can actually just level up your skills and stuff. So if you love something enough, you can just keep boosting that thing to the point where it can just one-shot stuff, even if it's the first skill that you learn.
Yeah. That's actually something I really hate about this, like replaying Disgaea, like Disgaea 1 complete. Like, freaking, like, okay, so with the axe weapon, the first thing you get is Boulder Splitter, which is like it has to be one around, just one in front of you, no other distance needed. And then immediately after that, you get Skull Splitter, which is like just a stronger version of it. I forget how much you have to wait until you get freaking Boomerang Hammer, and Boomerang Hammer is just so good. Boomerang Axe is just, it's the best move they get. Oh, it's so satisfying. Though in Disgaea 4, they actually like made axes a bit better. They gave them the guillotine move, which,
dude, I remember just spamming that.
Yeah,
with Fuka.
Yeah, Fuka was built really well. I actually do really like how they make their axe users, because they usually give them a ranged attack, because when you're using an axe, typically you're a lot slower and you're not going to be moving as far, so having a ranged attack on them is really nice, because they just walk up and do a lot of heavy damage. But yeah, in Disgaea 1, it's just it's been a slog so far with that.
Yeah, a lot of like bouncing issues.
Yeah, meanwhile, the sword, first special it gets. Let me just go and dash over there and just kill someone over there. I don't have enough moves. That's something I really love about these games, though. Like I said, if you know how the systems work, you can play around with them. Like, like you'll learn early on that like if you're spell casting, you have like a certain radius, but if you go and spend just a little more mana, so that way you can go and just get you can just go, instead of heal, it'll give you the option to heal 2 units, but it's like a diagonal thing. And if you go and set it up just right, you can actually go and heal outside of the boundary of your parameter, so you have just a little bit extra wiggle room to work with, even if you're using a little bit more mana to do that.
Dude, yeah, just like, god, these games. Like,
yeah, that was one of my favorite just aspects. I remember when I learned that, I was like, oh my god, it changes everything, because it sounds like it should be like, that doesn't sound like a mechanic that should work, but it does, and it's so good. I love it so much.
Honestly, yeah, just thinking about it, I'd say like every Disgaea game just improves on itself.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Like, yeah, you just got the base game, then Disgaea 2 improves on, like, leveling up.
Yeah, it improves, it gave healers a way to level up faster, and then, like, it just kind of improved the system overall in general. It added the cheat shop, it added, there's a lot of things that Disgaea 2 added. It added, percentage chance of hits, it added, like, oh, if you put this unit here, then they're going to be infected with this, and stuff like that. And it's, if I was to get someone into this series, it's really hard to go and tell them you gotta play Disgaea 1, because
it's very much a trial by fire with that. Like,
it's so rough. It's so rough.
Yeah, either start them off with 4 or 5.
I want it, but that's actually no. I still say 3 is
actually. Yeah, the thing with like 4 is you'd have to actually play number 1 to get some of the stuff.
Yeah.
These games.
Nathan, tell me about Phantom Brave for a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, just mechanic-wise, they also do have something like the Geos, where there's like panels and stuff, where you get little effects and like little doodads and stuff. But it's different because it's not like, oh hey, it's a colored block. There's an item there. And yeah, going off what Anthony said with 2, it actually did get really sadistic with their equivalent of geo panels. Because I remember like just going into a level where, oh hey, like right in the middle of the level, there's like a sword that gives a whole bunch of people invincibility. Okay, that's a little bit annoying. We just need to go over there and just kill it, like destroy the sword. Oh yeah, by the way, like it's just gonna be like a crap ton of enemies just blocking your way. So have fun. But like yeah, again, just going back to you have to be creative with the game. And let's see here, what else to talk about?
Well, it's just like, I guess I can just like kind of go over my general impressions on each of them. Thinking about it though, okay, so Disgaea 1 is great. I love the characters. I think that it has some of the strongest characters, and I think that there, like after 2, I think that the series kind of lost a little bit of edge, honestly. But I do really love Disgaea 1 a lot. The complete version just came out. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I really would encourage people to play the first one, just because it's so janky and so kind of rough that it has a charm to it, and fighting those menus and fighting all that stuff is kind of rewarding when you do like get it done in the end, and you're just like, okay, I could just do this and do that and do this and do that. And the game gives you the tools to work with you. I just, in Disgaea 1 Complete, I just recently got the level. There's a very infamous level where it's pretty much the grind level. And
I think I remember that one. It's coming back to me.
Yeah, there's a very specific level that if you look up any grind video, they're pretty much just going to tell you, just go to this level, go and make a big unit, and then just kill that single big unit, and then you just kind of keep doing that over and over again. And so, I like the game. If you have to start with 1, I honestly just say start with 1. Just it's on PC. It's on
everything at this point.
It's on a lot of things. It's also the only one that's still owned by Atlas. I think.
Really?
I think so. Uh-huh. 2 is great. I love the story of 2. I never finished the story of 2 though, so I don't really know what happens in the end. It could get all shitty at the end. I don't know. But there's a lot of cool units in 2 that they introduced. I think Taro is just fucking broken. So catch this, Nathan. Literally, there's a character in Disgaea 2 that like he has no special moves.
Okay.
And his whole thing is, I murder things with standard attacks because I have crazy high counter, and all the moves I have just buff me.
Jesus.
So pretty much just
only in Disgaea.
Yeah, so pretty much So pretty much you just send this little kid out, and you'll just like have everyone surround him so that way they do team attacks, and he just swings for a lot of damage. And anytime you have to move around the map, you just spend those turns just drinking your chocolate milk and just raising your attack and your defense, and so that way nobody can hurt you. And then if like you have like a healer on the side, they'll just like cast like buffs on him too. And he just runs up and just wails on people. It's the funniest shit. And he's like this little like timid boy, and he like does little Luigi like, and just like he just does that, and they just disappear. Disgaea 3, we didn't talk about it that much, but okay, it literally has the worst story in all the games.
Yeah, like I never got around to playing 3, and I looked into it, and it was just like, it's kind of just a standard story, and the characters don't really seem memorable except for Razzleberry.
She's great, but
yeah.
I'm sorry guys, I do still have a sore throat, and I'm trying to eat all these goddamn throat lozenges. But the problem with 3 is that its story like has so many cool ideas and so many cool concepts and so many cool like just neat ways that they could have taken it, and there's so many weird things they could have done, and there's like there is a lot of, I do like the main human guy, and I do like Razzleberry, but it's just Mao is a really unlikable character. So Disgaea 1, you're playing as Laharl. He's kind of a brat. He's like kind of annoying, but like he kind of grows on you, and he kind of learns about himself, and he's a bit of an asshole, but you know what? He's a demon, and that's his thing. Disgaea 2, you have Adele. Adele is like, you're very stoic. He's a little too stoic, honestly. He's like, I'm a human. That must mean I can kill all demons. And you're like, no, Adele, you're stupid. And he falls in love, and it's like, it's very typical and it sounds like it's very easy, but like what they do with such a simple premise is very well done. At least from what I can see.
Should I go into like number 4?
No, not yet. Mao, on the other hand, well, you know what? Yeah, just go into why Valvatorez is great.
Oh my god! Like,
so Valvatorez in 4.
Yeah, Valvatorez in 4. I don't know what the hell they did to just make him such a likable character. Like, they literally went to the high end. Let's make a good character. So Valvatorez, it's weird. He has this weird, edgy kind of character design. He's a vampire, but he's just super nice, super charismatic, and you kind of just like want to like follow this guy to like hell and back.
What you do?
Yeah, what you do. That's the entire story. It's just this guy who just teaches these grunt, like the lowest of the low, like units. And
well, actually, I just realized it, Nathan. Mm-hmm. He's a good politician.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's definitely a good politician.
And that's kind of like a thing about Disgaea 4.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like with Valvatorez, his main thing was he would always keep a promise. And he promised like this one, like his love interest, that he'd never drink human blood. And he sticks with it throughout it. And this man, like, they're talking about this man could just wipe the entire world if he was at full power. But he purposely nerfed himself. And he just treats everybody with respect. So the opening of the game, it's pretty much just...
Well, we don't want to go into too much, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, after that, you get Killia, and Killia's, like, very much like an edgy, I'm cold, I don't need nobody.
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
This is actually how my voice is sounding right now, because I really need more throat lozenges. He's like an edgelord, and he learns how, I have to actually, like, learn how to be a leader, and I have to learn how to, like, accept people, and at first I thought only the strong should survive, by realizing that everybody kind of has their own place. And I'm trying to better myself because I love someone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all good. All these characters are good. Then you get Adele.
Mao.
Then you get Mao. See, Mao is so bad. I had to default back to Adele. My brain was like, don't talk about Mao. Mao is he's a mad scientist. He's a bratty mad scientist who thinks a very specific way. And he's like, at first, he's like, oh, he's like a little otaku. He's like a stupid nerd. He watches Sentai and watches anime. I can get behind him. He's voiced by Vic Monoganogue, and he sounds like Edward Elric. That works. And then he just never gets any better. Like, he has, like, some slight change, but by the end of it, you're just like, it started with this character, and he's slightly better, but he's just terrible, and I hate him. And the story is very goofy and silly, which they're all very silly games, and they
do not take themselves seriously.
They all have like their silly moments, but Mao is just fucking awful.
I just remember, watching couples cutscenes of him, and it's just like, back to number 4. Just let me hang out with Valvatores more.
Back to 4, so I see Valvatores more.
And just all these good characters.
Yeah, and I honestly wish Disgaea 3 got a little more love, because mechanically, though, I fucking love that game. The game is so much fun, and it has it has a nice, fun concept where if 2 people are using specials, they can combine and make they can make a new special, so they're attacking at the same time. They both get the experience, and they both, like, raise your special bar more, and your bonus bar more. You get more bonuses, and everyone's happy. And plus, it just looks cool as hell to experiment, and it helps you, like, go and say, oh, what if I do this, and what if I do this, and what if I do this? And not only that, but, like, Disgaea 3 also introduced, like, magic change, and it also introduced giant enemies, and there's a lot there mechanically I like a lot. It's just that Mao is just so fucking awful that I was like, fuck, I hate this guy, but I still trudged through it. Let me just say this. Disgaea games usually have a lot of different endings. And there's Disgaea 3 is the only one that I look at the true ending and I'm like, I don't want that to be the true ending. One of the neutral endings is actually way better than what the actual true ending, because I feel like the actual neutral ending makes Mao grow just a little bit more and makes him, like, a lot more likable. Because at the end of the game, he's just like, ha ha ha, I'm a mad scientist. I'm gonna see how you tick. Yeah. And it's really sucky to go and see, like, a character go from, like, to, like, see all that potential that they had about, like, what is your heart? Who are you as a person? What is your conscience? Because they do this, like, interesting thing, Nathan and listener, where you go into a demon's heart and you go and change a minor aspect about him, and then it's just a permanent thing. Mm-hmm. There's a part early on where you go into Mao's heart and accidentally kill the Mao that loves spicy things. So when you go out and you're like, hey Mao, you want some eggs with some hot sauce on it? He's like, ew, that's disgusting. Why would I want that? That's like, no, it's eggs and salt. That's what you do. That's how you always do it. And it literally changes him as a person. Like, in his brain, he thinks he's always had eggs with salt, but in reality, he's always had eggs with hot sauce. And it sounds like really interesting and like, oh man, what is the self? Who are you? But the game never really explores that. It just kind of like, just is like, well, never mind.
Yeah, 3 was that weird, odd, like, stepchild, because, like, yeah, Disgaea games, they are focused on character development and character improvement, with the weird exception here and there talking about Mao and she who cannot be named / I forgot her name from 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just remembered her. I'm not going to say her name.
But yeah, like Nathan was saying, in 4 you got Valvatores, and 4 mechanically is such a good step forward. It's a good mechanical step from 3, but they can remove the special combos, so I hated that. But 4 is really good. I actually, if you only had to play 1, I'd probably say play 4.
Yeah, that's
Like,
yeah,
if you were like, I'm on my deathbed, and I can only play 1 game, and I want it to be a Disgaea because I've never experienced, I'll just play 4.
honestly, yeah, and that was actually the closest Disgaea game that I got close to beating. I think I was only like 3 or 4 levels like away from like beating the entire thing. And it's just a really good game. Like, the story pushes you to want to like learn more about the characters. The characters are amazing and interact well with each other. The mechanics are just absolutely mwah, mwah.
Yeah.
Like, it is, I'd say, probably one like a near perfect strategy game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
5 is really good too. We talked a little bit about what's his face?
Killia.
Killia's the thing about 5 though is that 5 took changes to the mechanics of like things that like have been plaguing the series since Disgaea 1 and improved on them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have a lot of good like quality of life stuff in Disgaea 5 that I just absolutely adore, and because I've been following the series for so long, it's nice to see these things. So
Yeah, if I remember right, that was the first one where they introduced that you don't need mana to create a character.
you just
buy. And it's great because, yeah, for the longest time, every time you create a new character, you'd use mana. And it was basically just like, well, do I create a new character or do I like reincarnate a character with that or just improve skills or other things? But with 5, you could just buy characters. You can pay for them to be a certain level, so you don't have to really go through that grind.
That was so nice.
And yeah, like, the main reason why I didn't beat 4 was the level that I was stuck at. It was focused on mostly just ranged characters, and I only had a mage and one other one, and so it was just like, well, I have to go back, start from scratch, make a like focused like archer or something like that. This is kind of good, just gonna be a grind.
And you just drop it because of that. But
Yep.
Disgaea 5, they fixed that, so it's just like, hey, they already start off at level 15, so they have like a decent skill, and then you're just like, okay. The only thing about Disgaea 5 though is that it's super easy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still haven't beaten it,
Yeah, like mostly just because, school and school and life. But
life.
yeah, just playing through it, like, my God, I'd say mechanically wise, it's my favorite. Like, they do, like, my playstyle, I hardly used the throw mechanics at all. But when it came to 5, it just turned into, oh my God, like, I can just do so much with throwing. Like, oh man, the one ice level it was, you had to stack geocubes, or no, environment blocks together to make like step ladders and stuff. Or there's just like platforms and everything that you need to chuck characters. And they utilize it so well that it was just like, wow, so yeah, this is a throwing mechanic. Like, I hardly used it, but I can see why it was a viable strategy back in the previous games.
Oh yeah, throwing is super important in previous Disgaea games, and I just really like it. But yeah, 5 is just that's the only problem with 5 is that it gives you all these tools, and then they don't really ramp up the difficulty too much to the point where like the super ultra final hard boss at the very end, he actually could be beaten by one unit that you have.
Valid Torres after throwing a bunch of
No. Actually, Super Demon Lord Mao is actually you're able to beat him with Usalia.
Damn.
Yeah, basically you just like have to make a super special ultra curry that just like buffs her super completely and get her to 99999, which apparently is super easy in Disgaea 5, and then you have to do like a couple other things, but then after that it's just like she tanks all the initial damage that it does, and then she just goes over and just wrecks house, and I'm like, yeah, I can imagine that. But yeah, it's a little sad that the 5th one, it was a little easy. I kind of wish that it was a little more jerkish. I wish it had a little more bite to it. I mean,
but, yeah, it's a good entry game.
Honestly, I think that if I had to go and say which one to enter after just saying all this, I say either start with 1 or start with 4 because 4 is a nice standalone story and it has enough bite to it.
Ties back a little bit to the first game, but overall, yeah, it's a very satisfying story. Like mostly, I was thinking 5 would be a good starting, mostly because of the mechanics and stuff.
But it's kind of hard to go. Like, there's a lot of quality of life stuff that it just improves and makes it easier to play. Not only that, but like Disgaea 5, much to its detriment, gives you a lot of really, really fucking good units. They give you so many fucking good units that like you're just like, fuck. Why would I want to make an ice mage when I could just use the chick from
100 Knight?
No, I wasn't going to say 100 Knight. I was going to say Makai Kingdom.
You never used like the Swamp Witch?
Oh, I used Swamp Witch.
Dude, she was like a pretty damn broken like spellcaster.
She was, but the chick from Makai Kingdom, the Ice Pram was so good too. She would, if you're just needing someone to do ice, she's crazy good. Not only that, but she can literally solo pretty much any map by herself because of enemy AI, where it won't chase you down. Enemies will only go, like, they'll go and attack you when they, like, are in range to hit you. Which you can always check and stuff. But, the thing is, her, special ability is that at the end of every turn, she casts just an attack that attacks a random unit on the field. And because she's so strong, it usually just one-shots things.
Yeah, and actually, going to that, in the older Disgaea games, special characters could only be unlocked after you beat the game. So getting a lot of those right off the bat in 5, it can very much be a very, like, a cakewalk. Because going back, like, talking about the Swamp Witch, so very, very early on, she can learn, I believe it's, like, the Omega spells. Like, just all the Omega spells at level, I believe, 30? It was 30 or 20. And those just do a crap ton of damage. And because of just how high her MP is, she can just constantly spam them. But yeah, going back to...
and then because you're using them so often and so
they're leveling up.
They're leveling up really fast.
And there's a mechanic in Disgaea. The higher the level, the lower the like MP cost is. So the more you use it, like, the stronger it gets.
And the less it costs.
So it just encourages you to spam it more. As opposed to, like, the other games, going back to, number 4, you can unlock, like, my 2 favorite characters, Ash and Morona from Phantom Brave. And they would have, like, abilities that were just broken, but it was only, like, to the fact that you can't really utilize them early on, that it was kind of just a reward for getting through the game, that you can use these overpowered characters.
So that way, if you want to do a New Game Plus, it's like it's a cakewalk now.
Yep. And you can use your favorite characters from past games.
That's actually something I really do like about NIS. They incorporate a lot of their older games and games that you don't really know about into their new games, and every game kind of references every other game. Especially since they have a character who pretty much just flows through every game.
I think, and because of that, like, I got interested in, like, other games. Like, they were on my to-buy list, but then I couldn't really find them. Like, after, I forgot, for just seeing that Unlosing Ranger was an unlockable character, I kind of wanted to play the Unlosing Ranger game.
Yeah. That game I actually played a little bit of that game. That game is... that is a mean game. that's still back when NIS is just, like, super mean to you. That game is a what are those? It's a
roguelike.
Yeah, it's a roguelike. And it's rough. It's rough. But every time you lose in that game, you get slightly better, so hope you like losing. And even when you do well, you eventually lose, so...
Yeah, hopefully, like, they're time with Nintendo, they'll probably ease up on their sadisticness.
Yeah,
But,
because
yeah.
they have a lot. Well, I heard that Coven is actually it's deep when you get into it, but when you understand the mechanics, you can really know how to maximize what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is honestly probably the best way to describe that company, is just once you know what they want you to do and how to play it, you can really maximize what you're doing if you kind of implement some real good strategies. And it's just mostly just learning about what does what and how does everything interact.
And just getting to that good grinding point on everything.
So I've danced around a lot about how I've been playing Disgaea 1 complete. That's the latest one that just came out recently. Nathan, how about you tell me a little bit about how you're feeling on it and how far you've... I know we're both not too far in the game.
Yeah, I'm still on the first chapter.
Ooh.
And I know.
First, I have the other Nathan tell me he didn't even fucking play Undertale. At least you played this one.
But yeah, it's very much just it's a slog. I still love the game and everything, but those old mechanics are just killer. And it's I'm glad that it's on a portable system, because you're going to be sitting down and grinding a lot. And yeah, I was for a reason, I thought they were going to implement mechanics from 5, so I was kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I was yeah.
But yeah, we got bamboozled on that. But yeah, just going back to it, it still has its charm. It just has a lot of thorns on it.
I kind of feel a very similar way. I feel going from 5 back to 1 and how mechanically different they are. It's so so different. They're very different beasts. And it's a very tonal whiplash, because 5, like I said, it was so much easier. Things just work, and you're just hey, just do this, just do that, just do this, just grind this, and it's a lot easier. And then 1 just comes back, and it's bang,
just backhands you.
Yeah, backhands you super hard, and it's hey, did you want to go and do? Did you go and set up a unit so it would attack after someone else attacked, and that person who originally attacked just got the kill? Well, guess what? That unit's done. That unit's done. They ain't doing nothing for the rest of the turn. And I'm just why can't I just move them somewhere? No, you're not gonna move them somewhere else. They're done. They didn't do anything this turn, because the only thing they were programmed to do is now gone, and they didn't do anything this turn. They moved, and then they didn't do anything. I was
okay, game.
This is mean, but thank you. I'm much further in the game. I'm on I think it's the 5th chapter. But yeah, I'm on the 5th chapter, and man, just I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel like I've just been penny pinching this whole game. Honestly, Nathan, I usually don't sell that many items in Disgaea, but in this, I'm just any type of cash I can get, just because in Disgaea 1, well, in all of them, your equipment is so very much important.
Oh yeah.
And
also, yeah, just even in the shop, some equipment, even though it says it's the same thing, there might be slight differences to it. And those slight differences in stats and everything can make a whole bunch of, a whole lot of a difference.
Oh, yeah. And one of the things is, if you don't keep up with your enemies and have weapons to their level or better, they're gonna beat you down. You really need to make sure that you keep making sure that your units have good weapons, and good weapons cost a lot. And having units, and that just adds up really quick. Not only that, but if you go and have a bad run of a map, just going to the hospital is going to cost a lot of money. And after that, it's after you go to the hospital, that's going to cost a lot of money. And then I've been selling so many items, honestly, Nathan. Honestly, Nathan and viewers, if you're going into Disgaea 1, just let me tell you right now, if you get a muscle weapon item, don't use it. It just upgrades your HP and it does nothing else. Just sell that shit because you're gonna get a lot of them and they sell for a lot. So just sell that. Because it's
yeah, that was the main like thing I remember about Disgaea 1 was you're going to sell a lot of stuff, and you have to know what's worth selling and what's not. Like there was a couple times I actually did sell like some healing items that I found, mostly just because of the cash itself.
Yeah, I'm using those a lot more too. But yeah, I feel like the game is very rough, and it's going back to it mechanically it's I kind of wish that the game got a little bit more of a spit shine. And I also feel like since they're going back and just doing one, I would have liked them to kind of resurrect the old art style a bit more. Like units that don't show up anymore in the series, they get a proper upgrade, like the lanterns. I fucking love those guys, and they don't show up anymore, and so they got a proper like HD upgrade where they change the art assets so that way they look better. But something like the martial art girl, that had a very unique look in the original game, but they just copied and pasted it from 5 and then just put it there.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it honestly very much felt like we just need to get like Disgaea 1 on the Switch. Let's slap some paint on it.
Yeah,
like, it would have been nice if they added like, hey, you can play it originally or like new. Just add some bit more polish to it.
And I also kind of wish that there's when I played it on the DS, I thought that the DS just had a problem where all the dialogue was not there because, you know, it's a DS. It's not as powerful as like a PS2 or a PSP. So all the dialogue won't be there. And so like you'd get these moments where characters are just talking to each other and it's only text. And like you just get these cutscenes of that and I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. And I'm kind of disappointed to note that I feel bad. I just feel it's just disappointing to see that when I go and see those cutscenes now redone, they didn't go and actually add voices to them, which I'm like, oh, I would have actually liked to you know, hear more of the cast, because the cast is great. I love the cast. But yeah, that's something that's kind of messed up, and I feel like a lot of the art assets like just haven't aged. Especially, you don't know about this yet, Nathan, but oh boy, when you get to the chapter, the next time on Disgaea chapter thing, episode thing, they actually use the backgrounds and the custom stills from the PS2 version. So you're seeing what old school Etna used to look like, and you see what old school Laharl used to look like. I'm honestly surprised that for the character portraits they kept them. They just like gave them a bit of coat. Because honestly, I was surprised. I was expecting them to give the pretties their more like current design, where they're a little bit more rounder and their beaks aren't as long and such. But yeah, I kind of wish the game was just a bit more polished in that regard and stuff like that.
Yeah, just going to that cutscenes and stuff. I was kind of just, you know, like looking at the cutscenes, I kind of flashback. I'm like, I miss Phantom Brave's cutscenes. Mostly because, so, with Disgaea, they would do like portrait talking and like they talked. With Phantom Brave, they did full-on body animation. It was like sprite animation, but it was still full-on body animation, so you could tell how a character would act, like body posture, movement, and stuff like that. In like these small kind of animations, and it was fully voice acted, so it kind of just blew my mind. That
was actually something I really got pissed off when from the switch from 4 to 5, because in 4 when characters like it is still portrait like things, but the portraits actually were animated, and they would actually like
Right.
switch emotions. So like if a character's like, wait what, you would actually see like them naturally transition into like their more angered state. And then in Disgaea 5 it's just like, wait what, and I was like, oh, you literally improved on that, but you kind of took a step back there.
Yep.
I think they might have done a little like something similar to that in 3, but I forgot.
You're mostly just like, I'm pushing 3 to the back of my mind. The mechanics are good, but
and before anyone asks, I've never played D2. From what I've understood for about Disgaea D2, it's apparently like even worse of a story than Disgaea 3, but I heard mechanically it's pretty solid, but I just, no one's ever ported it, and I don't have the console to play it, so I don't think I'll ever play it.
Yeah, that's also what I heard. Like, there are stuff in like D2, like they were hyping up, oh hey, there's gender bent Laharl and player 2 Etna and just all this other stuff, and like a lot of that stuff, it was very, very, very minor, and it was kind of just over after it was introduced. And yeah, I just heard the story was all over the place, and it was almost kind of just a retelling of the first game.
Ew.
Yep.
So all right, so we're gonna be closing up the show. So Nathan, what do you expect for just anything else you want to talk about for Phantom Brave or anything before we go into like talk about Disgaea 6 and Makai Wars?
Mostly like I honestly hope that Phantom Brave will get a remaster, improve on the combat.
Yeah, it is available on PC now if you want to go and try to play it.
Yeah, you can mod it to make it a little bit less sadistic and stuff like that. But if they kind of just remade it and added some quality of life stuff to it, I would be really happy. Put it on like a little special edition. Give it like a little bottle mail like box that comes in. I would be happy if they did that. But yeah. Okay.
So as for Disgaea 6, what are you kind of hoping for? Anything that you would want them to change or anything like that?
I'd say bring back some of the mechanics from number 3, like, comboing with your skills. Giant enemies would be fun to bring back. Just keep a lot of the mechanics from 5, and I'm hoping that the story team from 4 comes back to it. Because I know with number 5, they took out a couple key writers in the story for Disgaea 4.
Oh, is that why the main chick in Disgaea 5 is just awful?
Yep.
Was that person's job supposed to be to make that character likable, and then you're just like, oh, she's just awful, and she never gets any better ever.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll bring like those people that like back. And I'm honestly excited to see how it goes. Just keep it lighthearted and don't take itself serious.
Honestly, for Disgaea 6, I would probably just want them. I think it'd be interesting if they had a main character who didn't use sword or fist. I think a character like who's a spear user, or maybe even a, you know what? No, I'm gonna go and say it. Like, I want like a freaking bow user. I want a bow user because bows are probably like the one weapon I never use in these games. There's, especially in 1, even though I'm trying it out a little bit more now, but I would love to have a competent bow user that like is pretty likable or something, or just like something that's different from sword or a fist fighter. But I would want it to have a bit more teeth than Disgaea 5, and I would hope that they include a lot of the fun stuff you did in that game without making it so you were given so many options that you had to literally like gimp yourself. I felt weird having all these really strong options, but like having to literally push them aside and say, no, I can't use you because you're too good. I don't really know how you would want to balance that though, because I do think that there is a little bit of a meh kind of feeling for when you do unlock all these characters post game. I think maybe mid game, maybe let you get some of them. Or
Yeah, that would be
like that.
that'd be good. Like implement, just because usually that mid game is when you usually hit that wall, and be there as an incentive. Like, hey, it's okay if you want to grind, but you can also use these pretty like decent characters to help you through it.
Yeah, and maybe maybe make it so you have to like go and use the system where you have to pass a bill or something.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
in Disgaea 5, in order to get plain air, you have to pass like 3 or 4 bills, and it's such a
dude,
pain.
yeah. Like just looking at it, it was like a 5% chance of passing if you didn't bribe everybody.
Yeah, and that's always that's something Disgaea 1 doesn't even tell you. It's just like you literally have to read that room and see what and kind of calculate those odds in your head. But man, it's rough. Oh man. Though, as for Makai Wars, what that is, Makai Wars is a long-running gag that the company kept doing, where they were saying that they were gonna have like a super game where like literally everything is coming together and they're all fighting each other and it's all around one character, and she has to go and solve it all, and they kept delaying it and delaying it and delaying it, and then someone reached out and grabbed a monkey paw and said, I want this game to be real. And now it's gonna be real as a gotcha mobile game.
I think it's already out in Japan. I remember seeing some gameplay of it.
Is
it's
it?
a very, very, very odd like game.
I mean, is it just Disgaea, or are they using all of NIS for Makai Wars?
I'd say they're using most of like the NIS roster for it, but like it's a very simple grid system. There isn't a lot of environmental. From what I saw, there's like no environmental hazards. It seems a lot like a smaller scale, like Fire Emblem Heroes.
I'm looking it up to see if it is out. So keep talking.
Yeah, Makai Wars. It's been in the works. It was a joke. It was first talked about in Makai Kingdom, and one of the optional like secret unlock character.
I thought that it came up in Disgaea 2.
No, it came up in Makai Wars. So
Makai Kingdom, yeah.
Or Makai Kingdom. But yeah, Makai Kingdom. So you can pass like a bill that says, "Oh hey, see what the new like main character for the new game's going to like be," and then that's when the character came about, and it turned into the domino effect of it being a long-running joke of it will never come out, and this character will constantly go through every single NIS game trying to become the main character and killing off the other main characters so she can be the only main character. And it was they held up the joke pretty damn well. Like, each game and each iteration that she appears in, it's a different personality and a different voice actor for each iteration. From just being, hey, it's a heroic personality, to she is just completely, like, insane.
Yeah, her voice changes every game, and it's always like, it's wildly different. Yeah, you are right. It did come out on, she did show up originally in Makai Kingdom. Makai Kingdom. I actually really want to play Makai Kingdom. I actually watched the story of that, and that has a cute little story.
Yeah, the mechanics look interesting. It's focused on basically building up land and stuff just to get to like an area.
And the units look really fun. I couldn't see if it's already out yet. That's the thing about these games. Nobody plays them, so nobody really knows. There's not an active fan base. But anyways, thank you so much, listeners, for listening to us ramble about mostly Disgaea, but also a little bit about NIS. If you're going to go and play these, just know that you're going to have to grind a lot. You're going to have to do a lot of work.
And just afterwards, it just feels so satisfying.
Yeah,
when you get to that next part of the story.
Yeah, I hope that if you do try out these games, you do let us know. Let us know if you like them or anything like that. Nathan, do you want to plug your Tumblr or anything like that?
Nah, I am good.
Right.
they've been on with us for a couple months, man. They should already know my Tumblr. If not, shame on them.
Well, it's in the description.
Yeah, it's in the description.
It's always in the description.
If they don't read the description, shame on them.
Crap, Nathan. I just forgot.
What?
We were supposed to go and try to continuously say "dude" at the end of every.
Oh crap, dude.
We never. I was gonna pay Will to go and have a dude counter at the bottom of the screen, and we were gonna go and like just continuously say that, and we were gonna annoy Renee and.
God damn it, dude.
I think we're just gonna have to go and.
We failed Prinny school.
Well, let's just redo the entire show.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's just do. Renee, we can do.
Oh,
you don't have any more like people doing this, Renee, right? Oh, cool. Okay.
Awesome.
So, all right, we'll just scrap this one and we'll just do it again. Oh wait, no, never mind. We'll just stick with this
NIS is a big franchise, so we can always do a part 2 if need be.
Oh, my throat hurts. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in next time when my throat will be a lot better. All right, Renee, kill it.